Sean, you're good.
I ain't gonna make you too long.
Oh, at 6 o'clock, we will go ahead and get started. Councilman Ray, would you ladies please?
Father in heaven, we thank you once again for bringing us together. How you put your arms around us, bless us, and we went to and from that different direction. Give us a mind to take care of business for the city of Jacksonville and its residents. In the name of Jesus, we ask to pray, Lord. Amen. Amen. Join in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a seat. Good afternoon. Welcome to Jacksonville City Council meeting for April 2nd. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Dietz.
Here.
Ropel.
Here.
McCleary. McCoy.
Here.
Ray.
Here.
LeBron.
Here.
Moss. Twitty. Kidman.
Here.
Mims.
Here.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
3 absent, sir.
Okay, we have a quorum. We are good to go. Before you have your minutes from the March 19th meeting, be familiarizing yourself with those for approval at our next meeting. But at this time, I would entertain a motion to accept our minutes from the March 5th meeting. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval of those meetings, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? All right. Being the second day of the month, there is no consent agenda for presentation tonight, so that will be brought forth at our next regularly scheduled meeting. So moving into new general business, we have progress update on 118 Burroughs Road. Do we have family here this evening? All right. Officer Barger, would you like to say anything or?
Just letting you guys know there's been no progress. And I did find this week that the property has now been registered with the state land commissioner due to back taxes not being paid. So it will, unless they are paid before, it will be auctioned in July.
Yeah, certified to the state. So they owe taxes $2,192 on that. And that auction is July 9th.
Yes.
Is the date on that.
I'm aware. Thank you, Reverend Falls, for doing a lot of that work. He made sure that we stayed in the loop on some of that. So,
right now they are actually, I believe, Amelia, what did we say? 18 days
I believe so.
to the end of the agreed upon time. So
February.
actually 19th or 16th, 19th. Yeah, it was the following meeting when we went and looked. So, but we're right at, I believe, 18 days out from what would have been the end of that time. The difficult part now is because it has been certified to the state. So for anything to happen, they're going to first have to pay those taxes or else it will go to auction. So, but like I said, we're at 18 days, so it's
2100 was the
$21.92 and I believe 75 cents.
93.79 21.93.79.
Okay,
Yeah.
it changes daily.
Oh,
So.
yeah.
But anyway, any other questions or comments there?
Officer Barger, is your experience like does if ideally does the city want to tear this property down before it potentially gets sold at an auction? So the
No.
city can recoup its money or no?
If we wouldn't have enough time to do that, if it were to be sold at auction, if we were to demolish it prior to it being sold at auction, typically it won't have enough time to have a lien placed on it and go on their taxes.
Okay.
So it would be a lost money for the city.
Okay.
However, we would like to move forward with condemning the property if they are unable to make any updates or adjustments due to the fact that the new owner, whoever was to purchase that, would be purchasing a condemned property and they would either have to fix it or demolish it.
In light of the agreement that was given to them, so no action is to be taken at this time. It's just a matter of information that it has been certified to the state, and like I said, the grace period that was extended to them is still valid for another 18 days, so.
Councilmember McCoy, did somebody hear that you said had been helping them? Do they
Reverend
have
Falls
any-
has been working with that family since our last two meetings ago, he started working with them, but I didn't know if you have anything to add
Yeah,
today
you wanna
that's of
approach
value, Ms. Reverend
and help
Falls?
us, please?
Yeah, I'm Pastor Falls with Power in the Word Baptist Church. I'm at the last meeting that Mr. Trotter attended, where I was compelled to try to get with him to help him clean up the property and get the house restored or tear it down and build a new one. But I was in the process of doing all that. But he got three other siblings besides him, so it's 4 heirs to the property. And I was in the process of getting a dumpster down there so we could clean up the property. Then I got a call from Officer Barger saying that the Land Commission had the property, and did I know about it? And I said I didn't, so I had to check into that. So I put the dumpster on hold and checked into the Land Commission. Now, they told me that the property has been into their possession, but it wouldn't be auctioned off till 2028, is what I was told by the Land Commission. And they said up until that point, they had time to pay the back taxes, and then they would be out of the picture again. So I had to, I had some other help with Pastor Kirk with the Cornerstone. He was going to be helping with the cleanup. But by the time we got to the point to where we could get the dumpster down there, I got a call from Mr. Trotter. He decided he didn't want no more assistance with us trying to help him, clean up the property and, pay the back taxes and all of that. So I just had to just leave it in his hands. He said he was going to take care of it. And I told him, make sure you show up at the meeting and make sure that you get the property, taken care of. But I guess that didn't happen. So, but we was willing to help him clean up the property and pay the back taxes on the property so that he could at least start the process of getting it into probate and getting through all that process, because we're going to help him with all of that. But for some reason, that didn't pan out. So
Thank you for your willingness to do that and attempt to help. So.
Pastor Falls, are you officially washing your hands of this
well,
situation?
I mean, it's nothing else I can do if he refused to assist us.
Okay.
Now, if he decided later on that he decided he wanted to say, okay, well, yeah, I do need the assistance,
Okay.
then we would have to revisit and see where we could, go from there. 'Cause I have some other people that I was working with on the project to make sure that he could keep the family property.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you again to you and your team. Appreciate it.
All right. Officer Barger, thank you very much.
I've got one more for Officer
Sorry.
Barger, just for the record to reflect it. I guess it was back in September, October, us as a council approved the tear down of the house on Wilshire there in Stonewall. Officer Barger and I have been going back and forth for 5 or 6 months now. She gave me a recommendation to FOIA some of all the information so I would have it. And I just want the record to reflect that our conversation today was if nothing happened, you have until the 20th on that house as well, and then it's ready to be come down, correct?
Yes, so Wells Fargo took over.
Right.
They finally foreclosed on it. And once they took over, they gave me a date that they would have it demolished by April 20th, and if they didn't, we would move forward.
Great. And I reached out to them via the HOA and with a call and email, and I have not heard anything back. So
Okay.
I really hope that on the 20th, you guys have crews out there on the 20th and a half.
I have a crew ready to go.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is update by Director of Economic Development, Robert Birch. Mr. Birch.
Can y'all hear me okay? Okay.
Yeah. Get a little closer to the mic. But.
Yeah, I don't have much of a voice. I've recovered recently from throat surgery, so feel much better, but I just can't talk. First of all, I sent out an email to all the council members, kind of an executive summary of what we're doing with 2026. and just some of the information on what's going on. Before I get into the other part that I want to discuss, are there any questions from what I sent you? Any concerns? Anything that makes sense, doesn't make sense?
Yes, several questions actually.
Bring it on.
As you go through, I would like for you, just so the public understands, Placer AI, just in the way that they can understand that fully. That's one. The second would be one of the questions that came up after speaking with some citizens about it, is how are you addressing all of the vacant commercial properties? That's been vacant for many years. That's another one, if you can cover that in your time there. And the last one that I believe we'll stop it, since you're limited with your voice tonight. I can send it in an email so you can follow up the rest of them. But what are tier 1, 2, and 3 businesses with specific examples, please?
Sure. No problem. And I can talk as long as I need to. It just is going to sound like I have a gravel in my throat. So your first question was on Placer AI. So Placer AI is a tool that we started using 2 years ago. A&P has paid for it. It is a data tracking tool that most realtors use also, so that we can see in real time. We can actually pull data from 3 days after an event. For cities, it's great because, like, when we have Festivale, 3 days later we can see how many people were there. It tracks through cell phone data. To me, it's always kind of scary that it doesn't give exact people, but it pulls demographics of everything that you would want to know about a group of people that came to an event. But it also tracks retail traffic. It tracks traffic patterns. It is an amazing tool that pretty much really every day I learn more from that we can do. And it helps us look at the areas that we need to focus on, as far as with retail, what type of businesses work in different places. So I could click on, just for instance, I could click on Kroger on there, and you can actually do what's called a void analysis, and it pulls up all the matches of what typically goes well with the Kroger. And now we added a component recently that we actually get all the contact information for those, for their either franchisees or their marketing departments to give direct contact to, so that we can look at this and go, okay, well, this store fits our market. It gives a market demographic of 1 to 100 of how it fits, so that we're not out chasing businesses that may have a 20% fit for Jacksonville, but we have the ability to look at 95% matches and things like that as businesses to track and go after. It has been a great tool to get attention and help us really smartly focus, but as I'll cover in a little bit of why we haven't seen a whole lot of movement yet. It was we had a meeting today that was pretty eye-opening with a lot of developers and real estate agents from outside of our market, and that do represent property here. But the perception was a little different than what we got. We got some confirmation on a few other things, but so to answer, briefly without doing a full demonstration, that would be very challenging for a large group to show. I'd be happy if you want to come by my office. I'll sit down with you and I'll show you all the stuff that it can do and how it helps us. It is a tool that I know that Cabot's using it. I know that a couple other cities around us use it. It is a multifaceted tool that really all departments can use. It goes all the way. Like I said, we can tell street traffic patterns. It's a little difficult until the construction gets done to know exactly how everything's going to flow. But it's nice when I can click on a business and it can tell me, how many visitors they have. And I've done some studies to help with staffing, because you can actually see when your busy times are and your need to have more staff and less staff. it can help, give some advice marketing wise to businesses. It's a very, very robust tool that is a great tool for us, and is going to get better and better as just get more accustomed to it. And I'm a data nerd, and it is a lot of data, and it's a lot to go through. So
it can help businesses. So does that mean that at some point we'll bring that back so that the businesses, maybe you're going to host something to where they can see how what you are gaining from this tool can help them? If you're able to see when they have busier hours.
I've done some consulting with some businesses, and it's not the main function to use for us. I mean, because then I would be a full-time business consultant, but I don't mind. I really don't mind helping do some simple digging into the traffic pattern, the foot traffic patterns to a business, and giving them some ideas of maybe some things they could change staffing wise, things to make them run a little more efficiently, so things like that. But it is more a tool for us inside to look at property, take for instance like the Warren Dupree land, and to market it and to see what fits there, and to see how we can help the district in selling that, and bring in realistic options to help grow our city.
One of the
So
things.
it does that. Well, so I hear what you're saying on that. It gives us all of this data, and now we have to figure out how we're executing on that.
No, I've been using this data heavily.
So it's helped us in the city.
Yes.
Businesses brought in anything new like that? In what way has it helped us besides giving us the data to say this would be good?
It has opened up the door to contacts for new businesses. It is basically, and I think I mentioned this to you one day talking out front, it saves us money on not having to travel to a whole bunch of different conferences and conventions, which I don't typically think you get just a ton out of anyway. It gives us all those contacts that we would get going to those, and it gives us more direct contact. It is in a long range term, it really helps us develop putting businesses together that match and fit and can thrive off of each other, instead of just sticking them wherever a building is or where there's some vacancies. It gives us some ideas of some places that honestly we may need to encourage some people to take some buildings down. And because they're not getting traffic, they're just sitting. So it's a very good tool that is going to continue to help us. And I'll address the businesses coming in the next part that I talk about. So your next question was,
how are you addressing the vacant commercial properties that's been vacant for many years?
Well, did Officer Barger leave?
Yes.
Oh, darn. I have started writing with code. We discussed this. We had a meeting with code, Chief Hibbs, Public Works, with Adam and the mayor, and I addressed this very topic, and Chief was wanting to be very active on this as well. We have a code officer, Officer Gagne, that is his main area is mainly the commercial corridor, and we have started working together already, visiting these businesses. We are working on presenting something, and it'll be up to a council member to sponsor it or the mayor to sponsor it, on a new ordinance on these vacant buildings that are commercial buildings that are being used for storage, that people are just dumping things in and they look terrible. The way that code handled the Alon situation is how we're going to start handling all situations. We can't afford to have derelict buildings just sitting and having just leftover junk set in them, and it hurts the other properties around them that are doing the right things. It hurts the look of our city, and it negates some of our momentum of the interstate going through when we have on-site visits. Because if they're looking at this property, but right next to it, the property is falling apart, facade looks bad, it is not healthy for our city. So we are Code is going to get very, I don't know, Chief, if you want to say anything about it, or.
Especially on Main Street where we can't get tenants in there because the owner wants the potential tenants to come in, or the ones who lease the property, to put in an air conditioning unit for.
I'll address that one specifically.
I just heard about it before I came tonight.
Well, I'll address that one specifically. That is another problem that we have with the out-of-state ownership. But Officer Gagne and I went by there. We noted that there are people living in the empty part of it. There are roof problems. The fence is torn down in the back. And this is part of what the working with Code and economic development together on these is they won't always answer Code calls, but they answer mine because they think I'm calling for somebody to lease their building. And I emailed him after the afternoon after we got back from riding, and he's already addressed with me that, and there's already been a construction company out there working on the HVAC.
Well, I would love for that to happen in the nail shop. We may lose soon if they don't go in there.
I would love for that whole building to be torn down.
Absolutely, but thank you.
And better going. So that is something actually we've talked about for a while. It's getting, everything has to kind of go in the right order of how you do things. But it is, I think the Alon situation shined a big light on this problem for a lot of people to see. And, I saw a lot of reaction of, they'll just open up in another, couple weeks or whatever. That's not going to happen. That building is not going to be reopened. It's a disaster. And it is not safe for the people that pay rent to rent those type buildings. So we are going to put the onus on the owners and their responsibility to get them up to a good functioning building that is safe and good for our citizens.
Awesome. Thank you.
And you're going to have to remind me your third question again. I'm sorry.
What are tier 1, 2, and 3 businesses?
So tier 1 is like Target, Walmart, big box stores. You may have some smaller brands. So let's say like a TJ Maxx is kind of a tier 1 business, but a store like Bell's or Ross Dress for Less might be a tier 2. Is how that's kind of labeled out. Tier 3 would be, it's just the size of the buildings or size of the footprint of what the business is. It's not, a negative term. It's just based on size.
Of course. And
So
example for tier 3 again, I'm sorry.
tier 3 would be just kind of a small boutique shop,
Okay.
something like that.
Thank you.
Any other questions about what I sent you guys? Okay. Well, today we had a meeting with, I think there was about 19 or 20 of us there today, with some developers and real estate agents outside of Jacksonville, as well as some folks from Jacksonville in it. We had a couple that couldn't make it because originally the meeting was the 19th. I was a little too gung-ho to think I could speak at that point, and I couldn't. So we pushed it back a little bit. But, a couple of the people that we had there, we had Chris Monroe from Moses Tucker. We had Hank Kelly from Kelly Commercial. We had Stuart Mackey from Hathaway. We had actually a couple people from Kelly. We had representatives from the Waterford Shopping Center. And we really wanted to sit down and tell them kind of a little bit about what we've doing. And the code part was a big part of it. And they, to each one of them there, applauded the fact that we were taking that step. They said that is one of the best things that you can do as a city. And we wanted to hear back from them what they were hearing, because they all have vested interest because they have commercial property that they're representing here. And so one of the things that was interesting about it, it's hard, I can't ever turn and look at you guys because you're just sitting over here. So one of the interesting things was the perception that a lot of Jacksonville has of Jacksonville is not the perception of outside of Jacksonville. Outside of Jacksonville, the perception is a lot better than we have of ourselves.
I have a high perception. I don't know.
And I will say that based on what you see on, outside of some of these walls. I'm not saying the council or anybody like that. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that think that we have a tougher road ahead of us than what we do. It's not saying that we don't, but we have all the tools in place. And so my question back was, well, why aren't we seeing any response out of some of it? They said 2 words that stuck with me: access and visibility. With the construction that we've had going on, they said that is the only reason we are having a hard time getting things to move to Jacksonville, is because access and visibility. And that is, if you bring somebody in for a visit, and I'll use Chris Monroe again with Moses Tucker, had Dunkin' Donuts coming in to look at the old Starbucks facility. And numbers wise, everything looked great to them. But when they saw how difficult that area is right now, retail doesn't move. Well, let me rephrase this. They move to the next on the list unless they can do something quickly for the most part. So when they come in and they see how torn up that area still is, and they see 3 vacant buildings in the Walmart parking lot, they don't know anything really that's going on other than there's construction. So that causes pause to them. Now, that doesn't mean they're not going to come back to it. But what it means is right now it has dropped from their list from maybe being in the top 5, top 10 of places they want to open. Because if they've got to open 400 locations in the next year, they're going to move to the next city. And this is their words. This is not mine. And I tried to get Chris to come with me tonight, and so he could speak, and I didn't have to. And Hank Kelly said the same thing. Stuart Mackey said the same thing. They all said the same. There is not a bad perception out of the market of Jacksonville. The perception is right now is you can't get anywhere, and it is, that's coming to an end. So now is I think we're supposed to have the major part of the construction done by late summer at worst. The full construction done by December, but the majority of the traffic problems and everything, by all the exits open and all that stuff, by midsummer. We are months away from finally getting out of this mess. But retail facilities move at a different pace when it comes to, hey, we're just going to go to the next place. I mean, we had several. We've had McAllister's in here, and they love the market, but they couldn't open a store here yet, so they went to Cabot. We've had 3 businesses that I've been working for almost 2 years that are still interested. They're still trying to work leases out, but they're in no hurry to sign a lease because they don't have to, because they know that nobody else is coming in to really pounce on that open property. But they're trying to get their perfect terms and everything. So that is the biggest thing that came out of that meeting. They told us the things that we are doing, things that the mayor has in place, the things that they heard of us doing with code, the fact that we are out in the market every day trying to plant our flag of Jacksonville is a good place to come to, is working. It is solely the construction that is stopping it right now. Now, that is on your corridor business. That is your your national brands, your franchises, and things like that. The Main Street off interstate business is going to come secondary to that business getting filled, because it's going to take momentum to get the rest filled. But in the meantime, that's where we've got to be diligent with code and keeping these businesses accountable and keeping them cleaned up and seeing that our city is worth investing in inside the city. Did I miss anything on that part of it? So I have been given the permission. We have 5 properties. One of them has 3 parcels in it, but 5 properties right now under contract. That is different than working on leases that I've talked about in the past. And we still have, I think, 4 leases still being worked on. But we have 5 properties actually under contract right now, finishing their due diligence. One of the projects, and I'm going to put myself out there on this because I don't care. Anybody can pick on me, make fun of me, talk trash about me, whatever they want to do, is going to be game changing for Jacksonville. And it's on Main Street. It is property that sat vacant or had bad buildings on it for years. And this group is serious. They were out doing their surveying this week on the property. We've already started working with Public Works to make sure that this is a good, smooth project, and it's exciting. We have one of the buildings in front of Walmart is under contract, and is the mayor and I had a meeting with them. I think I was out. That's the one I couldn't talk, and I tried to talk, and it sounded really funny. And we had some concerns with that one over the Gray Township of not being able to sell beer and wine, and they won it, but we point blank asked them, is it going to cause a problem if we don't have that resolved yet? And that is a big thing that the mayor's been working on. I've been helping in some aspects for the last, well, actually probably a year and a half, and I will let him discuss any topics on that, so that I don't overstep my bounds. But and these are two opposite ends of the city, and both of these are going to be momentum building projects. We have a restaurant that is waiting for a particular exit to be opened before they're comfortable enough to say they're 100% coming. And the fact that the James Street exit opened this week, the exit that they're concerned about is the next one that's going to be opened, and that brought a smile to their face today when I told them that. I'm skirting around as much as I can without saying exactly what it is. We have one of the ones that I told you that we've been working for 2 years is a clothing store that has bounced between a couple different locations of trying to find the right fit between the Gregory Street Shopping Center and the Jacksonville Crossing. I think, isn't it Jacksonville Crossing? I always forget. They all call themselves different things. We're Bargain Hunt and Dirt Cheap Work. We're working with a new retailer now, and I'm for the Dirt Cheap building, and I'm telling you that these things take time. And the easiest thing I can point to is some projects from where I came from that recently made big news of going up. Those were started in 2021. And these leases just don't happen quickly. But one project that we found out today at our meeting, that we've been working on this property for a while, that is under contract in our industrial park, is wanting to move extremely fast. And I would assume that one we will be able to announce in the next month or two. As far as all goes well, they signed their contract last week. They came in, visited, saw the site, loved it, and so we have positive things coming. And I wouldn't stand up here and say this stuff if I wasn't confident about it. If it doesn't happen, I'll come and tell you exactly why it didn't. But some of the other feedback that we got today, and this is outside of the retail side, this is more on the industrial side, is we have a challenge with property owners. And I may make some of them a little upset when they hear this, but they're charging or trying to sell property for the same price as you would sell port property. Now, the Little Rock Port has river access, rail access, an airport right next door, massive manufacturing all around it. We have rail access here. It's different. You have to go through another company to get to it in some cases. But they all said to each one of them, we have a great industrial park, but your property owners are way out of line price-wise. You can't charge $50,000 plus an acre in Jacksonville and expect to get it. That barely happens at the port, and the port is premier land for manufacturing. So we've got to get in line price-wise. I said this a year ago when we met in January, when I had the big meeting next door and with all the property owners and realtors and everything, talking about how we need to address being at the end of this construction. How do we need to be ready for it? That's one of the things that I've said. Now, in retail spaces, we have the same problem. We have some property owners that are not wanting to sell. They are potentially causing some blockage of some bigger developments that could happen. We have some property owners that have some prime property that they're not taking care of in the lease bit to even make it available to sell. And I'll say which one I'm talking about the skating rink. It has been used, I mean, the parking lot's busted up. There's junk all inside of it. He wants high-end pricing for it that's he's not going to get. And he's content just to let it sit. We can't let that happen as a city. We just can't. Because that is in a great location, and I could have filled that thing probably 3 or 4 times by now. But it's not available. It's only available to rent at $1,800 a square or a section, I think, and it is up to the tenant to get all the fixings done to it. It is a very, very, very rough property. So we've got the potential to redesign our corridor, which is key to us because there's good and bad about being on an interstate. The good is you're on an interstate. Hey, we can market that, we're the first stop coming into Pulaski County from the north, coming down from what is going to be all the way to Chicago. We're a stop going outside. You get outside of Little Rock and North Little Rock, and you've got a little, not all the congestion of traffic. They're easy off ramps and on ramps. The problem with that too is if we don't, and this is probably as loud as I can talk, if we don't take the steps to make our corridor look good and make it presentable, once this interstate is cleared, it's going to take them about 2 minutes to drive through our town. And they will drive to the next one. And that's just the God's honest truth. That's the good and the bad about being on an interstate. So if we don't take the steps to clean up our corridor areas, and that's the hotels, or motels, that is the space that is sitting, that has been empty since before I ever came here, and is still sitting empty, and is just collecting dust. I kind of equate it to like you have a bunch of stuff stuck in your garage. You're not using it. It's just sitting there. Get rid of it. We have buildings that honestly need to come down, and they would do better if they would sell just the land or ground lease the land. But it's getting them to understand that and getting them to understand that code is coming. And we are going to hit these places hard. Not to be mean, not to do it because we can. It is because the future of Jacksonville depends on us having, and Mike, you're a realtor. You got to have inventory. And your inventory has to look respectable. It just does. And if people aren't willing to keep the buildings that they have, God, sell them, please. Sell the land. Get out from underneath them. Let us get them in the hands of people that will develop them. But that's the key to Jacksonville's success. That is it. And there's some long-term generational land that's just been held on and passed on and passed on and passed on. That's not helping Jacksonville any. So I am, if anybody wants to hear this, I am begging property owners, if you don't want to develop your property, sell it. Let us market it. Let us help sell it. Let us get it into developers' hands that are wanting to develop properties. We have a great population. We have everything that is needed. We have all the infrastructure. We have the simplest planning to go through of anywhere around here. We have a council that I believe is forward-thinking on economic development. We have a mayor I know that is forward-thinking on economic development, because I wouldn't have come to work here if he wasn't. I was retired. I was happy. I was going to do my own thing. I was going to start teaching. But
Don't do that.
it's what I wanted to do coming out of high school. I mean, out of college. But But when I sat down with him, when I interviewed with him, I was so impressed by the fact that he wanted to take Jacksonville forward. And it's not something that happens overnight, but we have worked through a lot of stuff. We got such a great opportunity with our 220 acres, but we got to spend some money on it at some point. We've got to fix the road. I've talked to Judge Hyde about it, to make it where, I mean, we've had, my gosh, 10 projects minimum come just to that spot. And they all love the site, but the infrastructure is not there for it. All the utilities are there for it that they want, but the infrastructure is not there. Which April 29th, we get to announce something that will help with that. But the governor's office said we can't say anything about it yet. But we've got to have people willing to develop, not willing to wait for somebody to come to their door and say, hey, we want your property, then develop it. We got to get ahead of the game, period. We've got to get ahead of the game. And if I didn't think it could happen, I wouldn't be standing up in front of you right now. Because it's hard beating your head up against a wall every day and, getting the same answers back on, well, yeah, we'd love to be there, but, we call the guy and I can't make anybody sell their property. I can't make anybody fix their building, really. Let's have a little pride. Let's have a little pride in our city, and the people that own the property have a little pride in their property, and make it to where people want to come invest here. And, I was very encouraged by the level of developers we had there today that spoke positively about Jacksonville, spoke positively about the market. And I spoke a year ago and told property owners, when this thing gets done, it's going to get hot. But you got to be prepared for it. And we're not. Our property owners are not prepared for it. I mean, you have space on both sides of the interstate that could really reshape this city. But it's got old buildings on it that they're not going to attract anybody to come here. They're just not. I mean, nobody wants to come to move into an old building with ceiling heights at 8 feet tall that I can stand and touch, standing barefooted. They want to be able to build new stuff, to attract better tenants, to attract what we want to have in this city. From what everybody gripes at me about of what we want to have in this city, I want to deliver it. But we've got to have some buy-in to the people that own the property and the buildings. With that, I want you all to think about this. September 14th, the Metro Little Rock Alliance, which we were a part of, and which I am actually the chairman of the board of all the 14 counties of Central Arkansas. We are doing a economic development training for elected officials. We have 2 sessions. We can only really fit about 3 people for all the different counties, so that we don't have that much. But if you want to go, let me know, and I will make sure that you're there. But it is going to be outstanding training, not trying to teach you economic development how we do it, is teaching economic development, understanding the city council's role in it, or the city attorney's role in it, or the mayor's role in it. So any elected official is welcome to come to it. We will find a way to make it happen if we have more than 3 that want to go, but do let me know as soon as you can. And it'll be at the Little Rock Regional Chamber. So.
Do you all work with municipal? I know they offer some things around that for elected officials as well. Do you work with Municipal League on any of that?
They do some. They do more of the strict training, but the Municipal League is not experts in any way in economic development. And I love the Municipal League. My former boss that I worked for, Mayor Joe Smith, is our representative from the Municipal League here. He is one of the most knowledgeable and best people that around, but they are not an economic development engine. If you want to learn economic development, you want to learn it from the Metro Little Rock Alliance, because you're going to hear it from the people on the ground every day, from Jay Cheshire, who's the head of the Little Rock Regional Chamber, to Brian Day, who is over the port, to Jack Thomas, who is the head of economic development for the Little Rock Chamber, to I believe Hugh McDonald, who is the head of economic development for the state, is going to be involved in it. So you're going to hear it from the best people that you can. And I would encourage you, if you want to please come.
Mr. Birch, I have a few things, questions.
Sure.
I'll be the first to say I would love to be to attend that session. The next thing, you mentioned the great township, and just how, and I could go on and on about that, and
Yeah.
I'll just try to keep it brief. But is it known to these people that are coming that it is possible to sell beer and wine? Because
No, it is not. You can't sell it at a convenience store or grocery store.
no, I'm sorry.
It's not restaurants.
Okay, it's not. Okay,
It is. So
I'm sorry.
we have a
I thought you
grocery.
were talking
Yeah,
about-
we have a grocery store that wants to come here,
Okay.
but they want to be able to use every revenue stream possible that
Right.
they can to make money.
Right.
They've been sitting for a year waiting,
Right. Okay.
and they're also waiting on construction and a few other things. We had another business that we were afraid was definitely going to back out when they found out that the Gray Township existed. They said they're going to open either way, but they highly prefer that they can. I mean, again, it's able to use every revenue stream possible to make money. Obviously, we lost Blade and Barrel because of that, because they couldn't go across street to Las Palmas to sell beer. And, it was like walking from me to you.
Right.
They had to go through a wholesaler, it cost them more money. That's got to go away for the long-term benefit of the city. I mean, it's not whether, and I don't really drink. I might have beer every once in a while. It's not important of the fact that it is we're in a wet county. We're like one of the only few dry spots in a wet county. It's ridiculous. But that is keeping, and we're not going to open any new liquor stores. It's not possible. There's no permits out there. We're not opening any. And I don't think you could open a liquor store in Jacksonville because there's too many churches on every corner. I don't think you can get one. You couldn't put a liquor store anywhere that isn't within the boundaries of a church. So, but there's no permits available for liquor stores. So we're talking about beer and wine out of gas stations, out of grocery stores, and that will help our Kroger some, Edwards if they want to sell it, the Maverick gas station. There's options that will help those, but it is not going to suddenly turn us into a floundering drunk city. Sorry, I'm just very open and honest when I talk.
When you were speaking of the potential properties coming, I was under the impression that it was like a potential restaurant that would offer beer and wine, but no, that answers that.
Yeah.
My last question is, and I think the majority of the council has been through what was the Leadership Academy that was offered at the chamber.
Mhm.
And I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago that I had went to that class, and you just mentioned his name, Jay Cheshire, when we were down at the port, and our class was sitting down there, and I guess I was blind to think that another region would be even have the ability to market Jacksonville and everything else that went along. And I asked Jay at the time, and there, we were under different leadership, and I don't remember who was over the chamber at the time. And my question to Jay was, Jay, who from Jacksonville is sitting at the table marketing Jacksonville? And he looked right at me and said, no one.
I still get that.
And
I can promise you, I'm at every damn table there is.
so my question is obviously you have really you really what you have presented tonight is really it's eye lifting. It's very exciting. The potential just seems like it's there. You have to be sitting somewhere to have these conversations. And you may not be able to answer this question, but are people from our chamber sitting at these tables? Are you sitting at these tables?
I'm the chairman of the MLRA. That's the 14 counties of Central Arkansas. So yes, I'm on the advisory board. I was on it when it restarted in 2018. And just a little bit of history. My dad was instrumental in it becoming a regional chamber years and years and years and years and years ago. Him and Hugh McDonald worked out a charter to be regional when Hugh was over the chamber. We have amazing support from the Little Rock Regional Chamber. So every deal that comes in that I work on, which is probably about 2 or 3 a week that come in from out of state and these are industrial deals, and they typically take about a week to go through each one of these projects just to answer them off the first RFI. We get those from the Little Rock Chamber. They come into the state, they come out to the Little Rock Chamber, they come to us. I'm going later this year with a group from the MLRA to a site selector meeting in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is where a lot of developers are, to be face-to-face with them to let them know we're here. I was going to the one that they had in March. Obviously, I couldn't because I was a little under the weather and looked really, really, really ugly. Not that I look great now, but you know. But yes, that is the one thing. We are at the table of every event that is going on. We are, and I say we, but typically I'm the first person to answer a request on an RFI as soon as I get it, because I know everything about every piece of property that we have here. And we have had several that we are getting close to. Our 220 acres, I can't tell you what an asset that is south of town, but it's got to have some work done to it. That is the feedback we've gotten. We have sites in our industrial park that we have a new heat and air company that just moved in, actually on Municipal Drive in one of Goodsell's buildings down there. We've quietly have a company that is headquartered out of Cabot that has leased a large building in our industrial park that is using that as some of their production. You've seen the growth that SIG has, and it's only going to get bigger because there's more coming. But we've got some properties in our industrial park that the old Regal warehouse that was purchased and had big plans for. That's been an investor issue, and that's fallen through. But that thing looks terrible. And Code and I went out there, and we were going to hit them hard because it is a very dangerous piece of property because it's got buildings falling down on it. And it's an excellent piece of property. I get more calls on it than I get on anything else, but he doesn't know what he's going to do with it yet. But we are getting the attention. And you mentioned that to me the very first time I ever spoke to anybody at the chamber breakfast. And I will tell you this, Gina's doing a great job. She is really pouring her heart and soul into what she can do at the chamber. And I think she had a business-to-business meet at lunch today. And unfortunately, I couldn't go because I was at our meeting. But I think she gets it. I think she is aggressive. She's out of the office more with our local businesses here. And what we want our chamber to really be solid in is in the business retention side. That's where we need our chamber to be strong because they're every day talking to the businesses. And what they did today, I think, was a great thing. What we at City Hall are working to do is to create the environment that makes it easy to do business here. And I can tell you through the process, through Adam's office, through our office, through the mayor's office, it is as easy of a process to start a business here as there is anywhere in this state. And the cooperation, so on the Main Street property that told us is under contract, the cooperation that they were blown away by the fact that we were giving them answers the same afternoon, which normally it's weeks when you go through planning to get answers. And we're able to turn around and give them an answer that afternoon. So we have everything we need to get going. We just got to, as the mayor said, gosh, we want these things announced. and I want them to too, but we, as I stated when I first started here, we don't announce projects. It's not our place. It is the project's, role to announce. But if they give me the go-ahead, my gosh, I'm going to tell you. And the ones that gave me the go-ahead to go ahead and speak that they're under contract, I was happy to be able to say it. It is, and what's funny is, suddenly we had an owner that's been very hard pressed about selling. His interest is now peaked because property around him is under contract. So we'll see, but you got to get a spark somewhere. And maybe one or two of these things start happening and people start seeing that, hey, maybe it is time to sell and move and get going. So,
Thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate what you do.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Mr. Birch? Comments?
And if anybody wants to come get a demo on Placer AI, just let me know and I'll show you. It is, I can get lost in it for an entire day because it's that much data.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier when we were having that discussion, one of the beautiful things with it is we are able to track like the leakage that was mentioned in the pamphlet that or the papers that he gave you can see how much business we're losing in town going outside of town. But events like the autism tournament, the softball tournament that we had back at the end of February, we were able to geo-fence that area, you know, of Dupree Park specifically, and we could tell how many different people, not just total amount of people, but how many different people came in and attended that event. It was 5,000 people.
Yeah, and you can, it's great. You can set time limits on it of they have to be there for 10 minutes or more. So it cuts out people that just, I did it on our military museum. Our military museum last year had like 4,700 visitors. I'll be using it on the historical museum to see how that's progressing. It helps us track those things.
Yeah, with it, one of the things I was going to say with, like, from the autism tournament, it will also show us the top 10 places where people were before they came to the tournament, and then the top 10 places where those same people went after when they left. So if they went to a hotel, where it was, or if they went, you know, the popular places here, you'll usually see is after an event, they're going to Maverick, what was, Come and Go. Or they're going to Chili's, and you can see just how many people are doing this. So that's a fantastic use of that piece of software.
And one last thing about the Gray Township, and this is, maybe this is fantasy on my part, but you know, one of the complaints when we have festivals or events is people complain about streets being closed, things like that, not being able to get around where they want to. We have a perfect opportunity to, in my opinion, turn an area into an entertainment district that would be, I think, wildly successful, because I've seen it done before. In fact, I've been a part of doing it. And that is the Municipal Drive area. Why would you not want to take advantage of the space that we already have down there, the acreage that is outside the community center? You have tons of parking around it. It is easy to secure. You can close off both ends of the street. You don't make anybody mad. You don't have housing around it to bother anybody. We could do almost every event that we have for the city in that area. And we have the infrastructure in place already. And we've had some interest in some property down there that would make it great. And when I'm talking entertainment district, I'll use Argenta as an example. You know, the restaurants that are down there can pull their bars out front and serve, and you can walk around with it. We can't do that right now with Gray. You can't. It has to be inside the building, and that's it. And that's not saying we're going to turn it into a big drunk fest down there, but it gives that opportunity. And again, it is, as Chief can tell you, it is a fairly easy area to police, because you block off each end of the street. You have everybody contained in one spot. And you can host concerts down there. You can host, you know, Festivale down there if you want to. There's plenty of room for it. We have a beautiful facility that I think we don't take advantage of enough in the community center of the area around it. You know, it looks great at Christmas, but how often do we use it outside of Christmas lighting? Not a lot, but we could. And it's great. Water feature in the middle, plenty of place to put some lawn chairs out and listen to a concert. You know, see some fireworks. Just don't shoot them into the industrial park. But we got to get Greg on to do that. So, all right, I'll stop talking now.
Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to, before we go to new business, I have Mr. Underwood. If you want to come up, Todd Underwood has asked to come speak.
Well, I think that gentleman just answered a lot of my questions.
I was going to say, please, state your name and where you live.
Okay. Todd Underwood, 602 Wellham Street. The gentleman just answered a lot of the questions that I had, but some of these questions here are probably redundant, but I was wanting to know what are some of the short-term and long-term goals for Jacksonville from a priority standpoint to the mayor.
Yeah, and what he just said, the code and then cleaning up of these buildings,
Right.
vacant buildings, this short-term, this is our top priority right now, is doing this cleanup. Longer term, near short term, I should say, moving medium, I guess, or so forth, is then looking at ways in which we can curb the growth of rental properties, rental housing and so
Right.
forth. With that, we are limited by law as to what we can and can't do as a city, but there are some alternatives and options that we're exploring to look at and see what is available. But we can't just say, hey, you can't do a rental, you can't do this. It's against the law for us to do that. But that is one of the other midterm goals that we're looking at. Right now, it is 100%, we are jumped in, all invested on the economic development that he was just speaking about.
Right.
I have spent the past year and a half going between the governor's office, the attorney general's office, alcohol beverage control, the county judge's office, all working on the removal of Gray Township.
Right.
He was talking about. Currently, right now, we have an opinion submitted to the attorney general. He and I have spoken multiple times about this, and we're waiting to receive this word back. And I'm hoping, praying that it is in the affirmative of what we are wanting to hear.
Right.
So, but those are right now the top issues that have been on our forefront.
Okay.
That we're looking at right now.
You may not be able to answer it, but he said he gave a lot of information. So when will those things come to fruition, I
Yeah.
guess?
And I wish we had an answer.
I
for that,
didn't
because,
think it
yeah,
would be,
That's not in
right.
our control.
Right.
On that, all
Yeah.
we can do is make it, I mean, it's the whole, you can't.
Right,
bring
right, okay,
horse
I
to water,
I
but
get
you can't
that.
make them drink. So we want to make it as easy for them to continue as possible.
And I'll say this, typically, they have a due diligence period anywhere from 60 to 180 days.
Okay.
From when they sign their contracts, and that just gives them the time to make sure there's nothing wrong with the property, or if it's a building that they're looking into, cost to fix it, to make sure it all fits within their budget.
Okay.
But that's the period of, from contract to announcing that we have to wait through, and at any time, they can get out of their contract, if it's a valid reason. If they find, there's a sewer line that runs through the middle of their property that they're gonna have to dig up and relocate. But we've been proactive on a lot of that by answering those questions of what we know citywide. Adam, anytime I call him, our public works director, gives an answer quickly. So we're hoping that we can speed those timelines up, because they can close at any time during that period.
Right.
But we're trying to do as much as we can to speed those things up for them.
Right.
And get them to the planning stage to where the real stuff starts happening.
Right.
Mr. Turner, that was the end of the 3 minutes, but I will,
Okay.
I will grant you another question, because I took time to answer and Robert did too.
Okay.
If you tell-
I was just going to say that these things are great, but a bigger issue is going to be the flooding in Jacksonville. Although all these things are great, but at some point the flooding is going to have to be addressed, because it floods all over Jacksonville. I mean, you can have the new businesses here, but if it's flooding, it's not going to be good for customers going into the businesses. So that's going to have to be addressed. One more thing, I'll be finished. Is there anything that you can do to hold companies accountable for buying up properties and not maintaining the properties, like rental properties?
That goes hand in hand with what we just discussed.
Okay.
For use of code and enforcement of
Okay.
city ordinance.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Questions?
Any new business this evening?
One, I do want to acknowledge, Mr. Trotter, we covered earlier, but I'm just acknowledging that you are here, so thank you for being here tonight, Mr. Trotter. But we did, do you want to allow him to say anything, considering that he came in late? But he is here.
I was walking, I thought I ended up late.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I thought I had to walk over and I ended
That's
up
okay.
late.
We did cover it, so
Is-
you still have
yeah,
18 days, I believe?
Yeah, there's still 18 days left on
Yeah.
those 60 days that were granted to you.
Okay, well, I just want to say that point right there and all, I think I have done progress out there.
Mhm.
That, tree out there up under that, what's it called, I cut that thing up, I got that stuff moved.
Oh,
And I made some improvement in that front yard.
Sure. Let me ask this.
And, my nephews and stuff on Saturdays, they supposed to come down and help me. Just clean up.
Are you aware that the property has been certified to the Commissioner of State Lands Office for
I will
lack of?
know something about that, but that's mainly what we got to work on, trying to get that, taxes paid.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we're concerned about that. My sisters and all, we're concerned about that. We're gonna try to work on it, try to get some taxes
Okay.
paid.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
I thank you. I tried to call you last week, I ain't never get in touch with you.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
any other new business? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn. So, all right, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.